This is James Lupton, delighted to be joined with Jay Opetaia. Jay, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining me today. I want to go through, we mentioned a moment ago off record, is we're going to do a bit of a picture interview. So every picture I show you, there'll be questions to it. So we've got to start with this one. The last fight, Briedis. Reflect on your performance. How did you rate it? Were you happy with it?
Good learning fight. It's progress. We got the win. That's all that matters. But the performance wasn't my best. But you know, it's a good time to sort of look at a fight to look back at and fix a few things and go back to the gym and now we know what we have to fix. So it's good.
For yourself, when you're always learning and taking these fights and taking things away from it to learn, is that always good because you know there's always room for improvement that way?
Exactly, and that's the word improvement. We know we can improve on certain things, so it's going to make us a better fighter. So that's what's important. So
Moving to the next picture, and that is this one. That is undisputed status, unifications. Is that what's on your mind for
yep,
yourself at cruiserweight?
definitely. From here on out, every fight that I have, I would love to just fight for more belts. I want to unify the division, and then move up to a heavier division. So, but until that, like I just want to fight for, I want unification fights.
So the other champions at the weight, Chris Smith holds the WBO. You've got Noel Nicolayan holding WBC and Gilberto Ramirez holds the WBA. With those three, are they obviously they're all on your radar, but is it any of those more realistic than the others for yourself to face?
Man, I can't control their decisions. I can't control that, but man, I'm ready. They're the fights that I want. So let's make it happen.
Do you see yourself as a very high risk fighter to face for these other champions where they may want to say, do you know what, I want to keep holding a belt a little bit longer, although you've got the prize there as well with the IBF and the Ring Magazine title. Do you still think that they may still try to go another route, another direction to stay away from you?
100%. I feel like I give every single person problems. You know what I mean? Like they know I'm the hardest fight in the division. I don't think there's one fighter out there that can look at me and go, oh, he's an easy fight. So I'm a difficult fight for every fighter. So it is in a way, but man, if they want to be the best, they got to beat the best. So let's get it on.
I mean, it's clearly that's a compliment to yourself and your style and your ability, but can it also bring you frustrations?
Um, it is what it is. We don't lose sleep over it, but all I do is focus on my training and my own performance. Obviously these are the fights that I would prefer, but at the end of the day, we're here over in Saudi, and I just fight anyone the Sheikh tells me to fight. So
Absolutely. Everyone said, obviously, your last fight a couple of weeks ago on the undercard of this fight here, Usyk Fury. Obviously, you spent a little bit of time in camp with Fury as well. Just first of all, that fight itself, a great fight. What did you make of it?
I've only watched bits and pieces. I didn't get to watch the fight. I had to go to the hospital after my fight because of my nose. But what I've seen, what I've heard, it was still a good back and forth fight. But I'm looking forward to the next one actually because I feel like the boys should level up once again. You know what I mean? I feel like Fury's going to level up if he wants to win. He know like it's like how I speak about my fight. They make me better. My performance, I'm not happy with my performance, but it's going to turn me into a better fighter. So, I'm looking to level up every day. And then for the next fight, I'm looking for a better performance. So, I expect these guys to want the same.
Talk to me about that mentality. Does your mentality shift when you want to level up, when you realize actually there's this I could do better, there's this I can improve on? Does that make your mindset and mentality better going into your next camp?
Um, but we always train hard. We always, we're always doing everything to the best of our ability. but it's, they say practice makes perfect, but it's perfect practice makes perfect. It's just the little holes that we know how to, that I need to fix, and it's just minimizing mistakes and stuff like that. So it, no one's ever going to be 100% the best. There's you can always learn, you can always get better. So it's just that's just how it is.
Everyone said that fight was good for boxing and good for the heavyweight division. Is it even better that they having an immediate rematch?
Man, just the heavyweight boxing scene is just popping off at the moment. There's so many big names at the moment. Like there's two big heavyweight fights that are on this 5v5. Like it's actually really healthy for the sport of boxing, and just to see them all fighting each other, and then they can just mix and match, and from the winners of this fight, these two heavyweight fights, they can move on and fight another big name. So boxing's just in such a good spot at the moment, and shout out to the Sheik, man, because these Riyadh seasons have really lifted up, and sort of raised a higher bar for our sport. So, you gotta give respect to where it's due.
Absolutely. I don't know if they've raised the bar completely and, seeing the best be the best now, which is something that we didn't get to see and the fans have always pined for years and years. You mentioned earlier on that you're looking at moving into heavier weight divisions later through your career. First question, would you be looking at bridgerweight and then heavyweight or straight to heavyweight?
Um, Man, we just see what happens. If this bridgeweight works out, and I don't see why not. It's a good opportunity, and it's a, a third division. You know what I mean? Like a three division world champion sounds good. So it's definitely something that we've looked into.
And in terms of the heavyweight, you mentioned it's in a good place at the moment. By the time you do move to heavyweight, let's say it's in a couple of years' time, for example, you will be what, about 29, 30 years old by the time potentially moving to heavyweight. But the other guys who are at the top of the game now, they're going to potentially be retired. You've got, for example, Usyk is mid to late 30s, Tyson Fury is in mid 30s, Zhang's early 40s now already. These guys at the top of the game, they will be on their way out or out of the sport by the time you get there. And in my opinion, you'd be ready for the taking for yourself by the time you move there. Does that excite you as well about moving up to heavyweight? Because it's a division that you could potentially certainly rule.
Um, Man, whether they're in the division or not, it's not like I'm trying to do it the easier way. I want to fight those big names, and I want to be known. Like I want to be respected for fighting respectable names. So it's not like something I look into to be like, oh, they're going to retire, so I'm going to jump in there. Then you know what I mean. It's just the way that my career's panned out. So we just take every fight as it comes, and then when the opportunities come, and when these, the heavyweight chapter comes, we just got to be ready for it, no matter who's up there.
Absolutely. Next picture. I was doing my research this morning for this interview, and this one surprised me a little bit.
Timmy Cahill.
Tim Cahill, your cousin through marriage. What I want to ask you about him is obviously he's a massive, massive sports star in football and in Australian sports, and he's got a massive legacy there as well. Does that inspire you or motivate you to see what he's done in his sport for yourself to continue that in your sport, especially in Australian history?
Definitely, man. It's seeing him on the world stage, and just knowing where he's come from, and having a close circle that sort of knows him very well and stuff like that. It's inspiring. He's one of the best to come out of Australia, and being a Pacific Islander boy and stuff like that. It's relatable as well. The hard work, the dedication. Um, so yeah, of course, it's definitely something that I look up to as inspiration and stuff like that. So
He will be a role model and an idol for a lot of young boys out in Australia and girls who want to get into football. For yourself, you will be a role model and an idol for a lot of young kids wanting to get into boxing in Australia. Does that inspire you as well?
it does, man. It's like it's a weird feeling. It's boxing's all I've ever done. Boxing's all I know. So when being an idol and stuff, it gives you a bit more responsibility. You know, the way you got to carry yourself and the choices you got to make, and it's not something you can do lightly. So I'm not perfect. No one's perfect, and we still make mistakes. But I feel like when you got that burden on you, that kids are looking up to you, you got to make lesser mistakes. You gotta think before you act and talk and stuff. So, but like I said, man, I'm not perfect, but I'm just trying my best.
Does that bring an added pressure into you to be that role model?
Um, but it is what it is. I've always had pressure on me. We live under pressure. My whole career as an amateur, all that. I've been fighting my whole life, so this stuff's not new to me. So it is what it is.
You say you've been fighting your whole life. That brings us on to the next picture nicely. 8 years old, your first fight.
Hey, you did do your research, didn't you?
Absolutely. Take me back to that day, your first time you got in the ring, put the gloves on, the head guard on. What was that like? Talk to me about the whole day, the build up. Was there nerves? Was there excitement? What was it like for you?
Absolutely fucking shitting myself, right? Like so scared. It was like being forced to do something I didn't want to do, like in a way, because I was just so nervous. And I was a big kid, like for 8 years old, I was pretty big. So I was fighting kids that were older than me, So man, it was very, very nerve wracking. But even my first fight, being pushed into those uncomfortable situations and facing your fears and doing stuff you didn't want to do. And then when I won the fight, and then like even that, my first ever fight, just walking out nervous. Then once you do it, you're like, fuck, why was I even so scared? Like you just build up all this stuff in your head, and you build up all this fear in your head, and then when you complete the task, you're like, fuck, you get scared over nothing. So that's something that I hold into my life. We build up these things of fear in our head, and then you just push yourself towards it, and then once it's completed, you're like, fuck yeah. You get scared over nothing. So even that's what I do with these interviews and stuff as well. You know what I mean? Like you get nervous, but you just got to do them, and then when they're done, you're like, fuck, it wasn't so bad. So
Absolutely. Well, talk to me about the winning. Your first fight, you've won that. Everyone loves to win. Everyone's competitive. No one likes to lose. What was that feeling like? And did that make you even more hungry to continue and keep fighting and get into your next one?
um, well, I don't know. I was just young. Like I said, man, boxing is just all I've ever done. Like it's just, I was always just in the gyms and competing. So, but the fear never stopped after the first one. You know what I mean? That like I remember a couple fights when I was young, when I was fucking just shitting myself. Didn't want to walk out there. I was like I said, I was always fighting older, bigger kids and stuff like that. And so I was really nervous. So it's been a process, to get to where we are, and the level we're on now. So it's all, I'm grateful for it all.
And the last picture brings me to the last question. And I like to always ask fighters about the unsung heroes. Here is one of yours, your granddad, Billy. He was a fighter as well. Talk to me about the people in your life and your career who have got you to where you are today.
Um, yeah, no, family's pretty important, mate. It's crazy. It's good to be here and have my last name a part of these big occasions. You know what I mean? It's something that I hold very. I'm proud to do. So,
Brilliant. Well, Jay, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully the interview wasn't too bad. Not too nervous about that one.
all
But
good.
hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.